What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? And from the other side of the dateline, Daniel Acevedo.
How's it going, man?
What's going on? If you have not already, please continue to tune in throughout the week. So Monday and Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursdays Ask a CISSP. So last week I had on Rico Randall, and this week I'll have on Mariah Simone Denson. So definitely check out both of those. Really good interviews. And then Fridays, everything else. So movies, books, games, all that good stuff. So definitely tune in for all of our shenanigans. And without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. This article comes from darkreading.com. And so what we're going to discuss here, right, is the title of this one is Cybersecurity Job Hunting May Come Down to Certifications. So we've talked about this before, right? Like when it comes to the cybersecurity career field and how understaffed they are. And the numbers kind of vary depending on who you talk to, right? So the big thing here is they talk about if current cybersecurity workers only fill 85% of the need in the U.S., why are so many people still looking for positions, right? And they're saying it's because of the certifications, the lack thereof, right? So we've talked about this. The number's been from 500,000 to 750,000 to 1 million. I heard somebody say like a week ago, like 2 million jobs. And I was like, all right, I got to throw my BS flag on this, right? Like every time I hear the number, it's larger, you know what I mean? But I'm like, I don't think it's that large, right? Like, cause I kind of keep up with it every so often. So like the about 500,000 they talk about here. So they say almost 500,000 and the specific number they give is 469,930 positions that are open, right? That the employer demand is not being met on, right?
Highly specific.
Highly, isn't it? Like 469,930. Like that's very, very specific. But they even reference in the article here, they have a cybersecurity career heat map, is what they call it, and the numbers that they show in here, it's kind of crazy, right? So they go from 2010 to 2024, right? For this heat map. And the different things they talk about is historical cybersecurity job openings, right? The national average, and they're saying 69% has grown since 2010, right? Historical employed cybersecurity workforce, the national average 55%, right? So these numbers, like it's going up, right? But then when they talk about historical supply demand for cybersecurity, right? They say 85%. So like the demand for it is going up, right? But they show like in the graph, even though they say the demand is going up, they show the chart going down, right? For the personnel that are being hired in these spots, and based on the need, right? Because the need goes up, but it's either staying stagnant or going down with the amount of people they're hiring for it. But certifications does seem like the way to go, right? Like I know a lot of people like degrees are the route they go, right? When it comes to getting a better job, getting better pay and things like that. But when it comes to cybersecurity and IT, that may not, the way this is kind of showing, it may not be the route to go, right? They're like, hey, when you look at these job postings, they are asking for this, right? For like, and they tell what the different positions are, right? They talk about, let me find it in here. The different uses, right? So like they talk about the Security Plus certification, this many people have it, right? The Certified Information Systems Auditor, this many people have it, right? Certified Information Security Manager, this many people have it. But they talk about all those different positions and they show where they're wanted and what they're asking for. And it's not meeting the demand, right? People aren't getting it. And here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and say degrees aren't the way to go, right? Because with some of these programs, they actually will give you, they'll actually have, it'll be in the tuition that you can earn some of these certifications, you know what I mean? I know there was a university that was very popular in the military where they were like, hey, you come and do this track, right? CISP is going to be something that we're going to pay for when you do this track, you know what I mean? Which is no longer offered anymore through them. I'm not going to call them out on it, but it's no longer offered to them. But it used to be very, very popular because of that. But this is something, and again, it's not new, and it's something we've talked about before in the past. But it's something that I wonder how that shift gets made, right? Like how do they shift people? Because here's the thing: when you look at a lot of these job offerings, yeah, they're talking about certifications, but you also see the like to have is to have a bachelor's degree, right? Some type of cybersecurity or something like that. So like, which way are we going here? You know what I mean? Like, which one is going to be more important? Like, if you have someone just coming out of college, 22-year-old that has a bachelor's degree, well, they don't have any certifications or real life experience, right? So what are you basing off of what you need? What is more important to you and what you would like to see? And I think that's kind of what they're going into here. And the certification track, I mean, it's it makes sense, right? Like it's teaching you what to do based off what the job is wanting you to do. So it seemed like that'd be the way to go, and not, doing different types of math or whatever it may be to get your degree, right? So, but Daniel, what's your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, this one was interesting. I think it's a good sounding board of kind of like where organizations are in respects to jobs that are in the cybersecurity or even in the IT industry and these kind of things that kind of fall into these kind of career paths, right? Because I'll give myself an example. The previous company I worked for, great company to work for, but right, their knowledge of what the position was and the security department was still kind of new. So they didn't know what a physical security officer really did. They didn't really know what an information system security manager really did, right? So when you get companies that were a smaller relative company, ballooned up, and then a larger defense contractor company bought them out, right? That they still have that lack of knowledge. You couple that with HR, that they marry those things up to then put these job postings out there, right? That's where you get kind of like the discrepancies, like, needs to have a bachelor degree. Maybe the job posting isn't as well rounded out. Now, if you go to like a cybersecurity firm or a bigger corporation, like the understanding of like, hey, this person doesn't have a degree, that doesn't really matter. He's got like 15 years of experience. He's worked for another large top 3 company in the United States. He's got all these certifications and all this history of like, hey, he's done all this work. There's a progression of upward scale of him, like, performing high and then getting promoted. So about like high performers will be gobbled up by like good companies. But then there's the back and forth of like what that company can offer and, the quality of life and those kind of things, right? But back to this, obviously for me, certifications and job experience is kind of will be at a higher stand than of a degree in this kind of field. But I think a lot of the mid to lower level companies that aren't specifically in the tech industry wouldn't understand that yet. And they still don't understand it. That's my thoughts. What do you think, Ryan?
No, I think you both are spot on. So at the top, please like, share, subscribe. Trying to get to 500 subs on YouTube by the end of the month. I think we could do it. So we just need you to subscribe. Also, please check out the newsletter. So every Friday we drop a newsletter that has all the articles. So we take a step back. Every episode has an article, and then on Fridays, all those articles get rolled up into a newsletter plus slice of life stuff, right? So what we're doing currently, outside of our day-to-day podcast, right, is also rolled in there. So that's up to about 1,300-ish subs. So it's doing really well. It's only been out for like maybe 2 months. So definitely continue to like, share, subscribe, all those good things. But yeah, so here's my thing, right? So my opinion on this has evolved, right? I see it as a triad. Just like you have PMP, right? Scope, schedule, cost, or the CSSP, right? Confidentiality, integrity, availability, right? For these job seekers, I think it really comes down to experience, certification, degrees. In that triad, experience is king. I would say experience. Experience leads you to certifications to show, display your experience, and then last would be degrees. So I'm not discouraging people who are going through the pipeline right now who are going for the degree, but you don't have experience unless you are volunteering your time and effort and energy. So it's all going to come down to experience. I wish companies felt the same way. They do it backwards, in my opinion. They want you to have the certifications, and they don't care necessarily how much experience that you have. Because they believe that it's already compensating for that. So we want someone in this position who has a CISP. So with that, to get a CISP, you should have 5 years, at least 5 years experience, these domains, etc. And that's pushing people to do it backwards. It's pushing people to say, okay, I just need to get the certification, not knowing that certification, like, yeah, you can have a bunch of book knowledge, but it's supposed to have experience attached to it. That's supposed to be what fleshes you out. And I think now it's starting to cause people to have this weird consternation where they're trying so hard to get the certifications, they don't have time to gain the experience, or they can't get their foot in the door to get the experience. Then when they finally get to the interview and get asked those technical questions, it's punched them in the face. And I think that's very unfair, because it's just the two aren't aligned. Like the person who is seeking the job versus the company, they're not really on the same sheet of music. And I think that's really doing a disservice to not only the company, because all these vacancies exist now, It's like, oh, it's just a shortage. We can't find these people. Like you're grooming these people to go about it the wrong way. You should be pulling them in, and then in the ideal world, if I was king for a day, right, it would be you pull them into the pipeline, they work their way through it, they gain the experience, and then you pay for their certifications, and then you retain them. I think a lot of the fear would be that you would give them the certification and then they would bounce on you. But where are they going? Like, if anything, that pool will start to open up, and then you'll get someone who's already been gone through the pipeline, who now has the certification and come to you. But I think you have to feed the system.
But they're only going to bounce on you if something else is not right in your situation, though, right?
Right.
Like if you're taking care of them like you should be, like, and I get it, right? Like someone without the certification or whatever, you're not going to pay them top of the line or whatever that certification is, right? They don't have it yet. I understand that, but once they get it, if for whatever reason you don't compensate appropriately, then they're like, okay, I'm going to look elsewhere, right? Like somebody else is going to take care of me based off what I have now. I have the 5 years experience. I have this highly sought after certification, right? So you got to take care of it. That's why people leave jobs, right? Is there better opportunities, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be financial, right? It could be home life or whatever it needs to be, right?
Right.
So, I mean,
yeah. So in my case, right, before I finally retired from the Air Force, I was like talking to Shannon and Levon about, like, I'm worried about it and I want to gain this, I want to gain that. So my last 5 years in the military, I was gunning for all of the education, all the certifications. So I got my PMP, got my CISSP, amongst all the other stuff I had, right? Site Plus, Net Plus, CCNA, all the other good stuff. And then what else? Like, we started the podcast because A, I was going crazy, but B, it became a living resume and all that. Like, I did a lot before the transition, but I had the time because I had a company who was paying me to gain experience and then paying for certifications. Like the DoD was the unicorn of companies, right? When it came to that, because we're gonna, like, regardless if you have certifications or not, we're gonna put you into the fire. Either you survive or you don't. And then we also have these programs. When you have the time outside of work, you can go ahead and we'll pay for your education, things of that nature. That gives us a step up that a lot of people do not have, right? They're leaving high school, they're going to college, and they're not necessarily able to work or to gain the volunteer experience and things of that nature. And then when they get to a recruiter or they get to a hiring manager, they don't have the experience. Like, they can't really talk about it. They only have the book experience, right? They only have the technical side, no hands-on, unfortunately. And I think it's just a huge disservice to people who are going that track. I actually have a class at the end of the month, the 28th, where I'll be talking about some of those transferable skills, some of the soft skills you need, and how to gain experience and things of that nature. But a lot of it's going to come down to volunteering your time, unfortunately. But it really should fall on the company. I think the company should have pipelines to bring people in, usually through like, help desk is not the only means of getting in, but it is a means of getting in. But then also people were transferring out of those different jobs, right? If you're medical, if you're law, if you're whatever, all of those have frameworks, and it would be nice if those people could get plugged in before they do the transition to say, hey, I'm a medical administrator, I do X, and I want to go into cybersecurity. How can I help you with your upcoming evaluation? How can I help you with your HIPAA, your high trust, your SOC 2? Because I'm non-technical, but I'm very educated and highly knowledgeable about all the artifacts you're going to need when it comes to your upcoming evaluation. And I think that would be a cool pipeline, but that's hard to come by because A, the person has to know these things exist, right? Because they don't necessarily, they just get asked by the POC of whomever is getting evaluated for artifacts. They don't know what they're for. But B, for companies to have that pipeline to say, hey, we want to cross utilize these people. Because like, if you want to go into cyber, then here's a means of doing so. We can get you over to the team by leveraging your current experience and then bring you over there, and then vice versa, that mind share, right? But I know to a certain extent, a lot of people won't want to do that anyway, though, right? You pay me for X, I'm going to do X. But then those are the people who don't get to transfer, in my opinion. And I guess I'm kind of asking people to give up even more of their time, unfortunately. But if you want to make that switch, it's either going to be time, money, and all of it equals effort. But it's either going to be time or your money. And I don't think you can pay your way in. It's the unfortunate part, because at some point you're going to get screened by a hiring manager or a technical recruiter, and it's going to punch you in the face, unfortunately. So you have to give up that time then to get to gain the experience to be able to go over there and talk the talk. But it's not being talked about. Like people don't have this conversation beforehand. They're just like, yeah, because everybody and their mom is now offering training. Like, yeah, get the certification, 6-figure job. And no, that's not the case. At least not for a lot of people now. Like it might have been the case before a decade ago, but as we get closer and closer to whatever this new future is in cybersecurity, it's just not working out for people. So you can see a lot of people are burnt out and frustrated. So I honestly don't know what is going to which the chicken or the egg. I don't know which one's going to take place first, but everybody I talk to, at least, I always say like, hey, hit up your whomever, because there's a person in your company getting beat up right now for an upcoming evaluation, and they can use some help. And that could be you. And then you can use that to leverage it to say, now, when you have that conversation, like hopefully you get hired within, right? Your company can pull you over to being that cybersecurity person. But if not, if you have to bounce out to somewhere else, you can say, hey, I was involved in X, or I saw Y, and this is what I did to implement it. And it shows that you understand the process and you have applicable skills that could transfer over to the cybersecurity team, whether it be GRC or whatever. And that's the hope. But I just, like you said, the gap just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Like next year it'll be 3 million, and then it'll be 1 billion jobs. People are like, what? A billion? There's a billion of us missing? And I the only thing I can see that could bridge that gap is either the employer pays by saying like, hey, come in this pipeline, you'll be on the help desk, we'll work your way up, or B, you have to volunteer your time, unfortunately. Or fortunately, right? If you're really interested and passionate about it, you wouldn't mind. Like you'll be home labbing, you'll be asking for stuff on the job, and then you can take that technical hands-on training and skills and do something great with it. So this is my 2 cents, but we'll see. We'll see what the future holds in that regard. But yeah, I think that's the triad. It's experience, certification, and education. And I think paramount, king of that, is experience. So figure out how you can gain that, and then that can help you get over to the other side. And I think companies should be doing the same thing. But we talked about offline. Companies like to shed people for shareholder interest. So can you put more money in that resource without giving up some dividends to from a shareholder? So I don't know how that works, but I digress. Definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. Monday, Tuesday topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursdays Ask a CISSP. Check those out. I have Mariah Simone Denton on this week. Really good interview. And then Fridays, everything else. So movies, books, games, all that good stuff. So hit up all the websites that go by our name, either the other side of the firewall, the other side of the FW, or Ask a CISSP. Hit me up personally at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy on pretty much every platform. You can hit up Daniel. He's on LinkedIn by his name, and he's always linked to in all the articles. And then Shannon, if you have Shannon questions, hit me up, and I'll relay them. Stay safe, stay secure.